Okay, now for this step, I am going to be using my double fold bias tape. So I have my bias tape extra wide double fold. So this is what I will be using. I've got 2 packages of this for this project. And I will be just encasing the outside of this pocket with this bias tape, and I will show you how I do this. I'm going to be at my ironing board, and I will be using my iron to kind of help me with this. Now, as I do this, I am going to think about what side of my apron I am putting my pocket on. So as I just pulled my apron over here to remember what side I did my markings on. It looks like I did my markings on this side and my pocket. And I'm just gonna look at the picture here, and this should be the outside of my pocket, and then this is going to be the inside. So I just want to make sure that I'm keeping that in mind when I do my bias tape, because I really want to make sure that the outside edge is what looks the best and most presentable. On the inside edge, if that looks like a little bit funky, that is going to be okay, because it will be attached to my apron, and I'm not going to see that as much. Okay, I still am going to have a finished side to that pocket, which will be nice, but I really want to make sure that that outside edge of the bias tape that connects to my apron is what looks the most presentable there. Okay, so when you open up your bias tape, it's going to be on a piece of cardboard, so you're just going to need to unravel it a little bit. I'm not going to unravel the whole thing at once. And I am going to start up on a corner here. And again, I just kept that side up that I know I need presentable. And it just kind of opens up, and I'm going to open it up and put that fabric, both pieces of fabric, in between the bias tape here. And then I'm just going to kind of iron that down. And where the iron's really going to come in handy is as I do my curve, because it's going to be hard to get that bias tape to curve as I want it to. But as I get it where I want it, I'm going to make sure that I pin it into place. Okay, and then I'm kind of curving around my pocket here, and as I curve, I'm just going to kind of iron this so that that bias tape lays flat around my curve here. So I just have to do a little bit at a time. Again, this is the part where you're going to need to be patient. Okay, then on my corner, okay, I'm going to want to kind of fold it up. So can you see how I'm doing this? I'm going to fold it, kind of open it up flat, like so here. And then I'm going to fold it down so I get kind of a nice edge. Okay, I just want a nice clean corner like that. Just going to iron that down so that can hopefully stay. And then make sure that I'm pinning that in place. Let it cool a little bit here, and then I'll pin that. Okay, so then when it comes to finishing off, I'm just going to cut myself a little bit of extra. And I am going to try to kind of take this and try to figure out here how to fold it kind of backwards and in. Now I don't want, can you see how that little bit is sticking out there? I'm not going to want that, okay? So I've got to figure out how I can hide that. So just might be tucking that up and in a little bit and then pressing that down so that it stays how you want it to be. Then once we have this all set how we want it all the way around, we're gonna go ahead and we are going to do our regular stitch all the way around. Now you're gonna wanna go nice and slow because I will be looking to see how you do with your stitch. You want your stitch to be close to the edge of, you want it to be on the bias tape, and you want it to be close to the edge of the fabric, okay? And you just wanna follow the bias tape, and you wanna stay equal distance the whole way around from the bias tape to the fabric. Equal distance all the way around, following the curve. Make sure that your threads from your baste are kind of in towards the middle of your fabric so they don't get stuck in your sewing. Looks good. I think I'm ready to sew. Again, if you did not change your stitch length back, you want to make sure that you go ahead and you do that right away. Use that hand wheel to really make sure you're starting where you want to be starting here. Okay, and then you can just go ahead and take it nice and slow. Okay, so I just finished my edge stitch around my bias tape, and I just wanted to show you kind of how close I got. So this is going to be my front side here. And I did actually have to seam rip a little bit. I'm not sure if you saw that in my footage or not, but I didn't catch kind of the fabric when I started here. So I had to seam rip so that I could get the fabric with my bias tape here, and I didn't want my back stitch to be in the middle, so I ended up seam ripping this whole row here. So my back stitch ended up being over here when I started here because I didn't get my fabric there again. So I seam ripped this whole part actually as it was in my machine, and then I just kept sewing and then back stitched over here to kind of hold my stitching in place. Now before I move on to the next step, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull out my basting stitch. So I should just be able to grab one of those long strings and kind of pull on it. And it should just kind of pull right out. Okay, so it pulls out on the one side. I have to flip it over and then just pull the other side out. And then I don't have that stitching in there anymore. Okay, so now my pocket is finished and it is ready to go on to my apron, which is going to be part of the next step.